Oh, we're about to talk about some Multiverse of Madness, but first I want to thank the sponsor of this video. This video is brought to you by Displate, because the quest for a perfect nerd cave is a quest worth doing. Displate offers high quality prints on metal with millions of options available. Video games, comic books, movies, comic book movies, my spirit animal. And displaying them's really easy. Just wipe down the wall, stick the magnet, the print hangs right there. And in a world where we just gotta change it up sometimes, swapping out the prints as easy as 1, 2, and that's it. There's no 3. It's 1, 2, done. So click the link below, and for a limited time, you get 31% off of 1 or 2 prints, or 41% off of 3 or more prints. Go well, traveler, in optimizing your nerd room. And now the moment you've all been waiting for, that moment where I thank you for clicking on my face. Thank you for that. I feel the love. You're the best. Also, this is a spoiler-free review. That is to say, there are no spoilers in this video. I do plan on making a spoiler talk video in the next couple days or so. Keep your eye out for that. In the meantime, let's get strange. So Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is a new Doctor Strange movie, the new MCU movie. Dr. Stephen Strange runs across a girl named America Chavez. He's like, all right, I'm gonna help this girl. I'm gonna protect her because there are nefarious things after her. And that adventure takes them through the Multiverse of Madness. Now, the dynamic between Doctor Strange and America Chavez, I really liked it. It's kind of like, you know, he wants to protect her. She doesn't really trust him. But it's like, I don't know much about America Chavez. I'm posturing. I don't know anything about her. Like I've said this before, and I will say it again. We are in the deep cuts of the Marvel world, my friends. We're in the deep cuts of the comic book movie universe. We are past Iron Man and Spider-Man and the Incredible Hulk and Captain America and things I knew more about. I'm just sitting back and relaxing and enjoying the MCU as it comes at me at this point. Point is, as I don't know anything about America Chavez, I did like the dynamic between her and Doctor Strange. I thought it was a good one. I thought it was done well. Also, her name cracks me up. I mean, it shouldn't, but it's like every time Doctor Strange would be like, America! Fuck yeah! That song changed the course of history. Don't let anyone tell you different. Or my favorite, I think it was Strange, was like, is America okay? I was like, no, not really, no. Oh, you mean the kid? Yeah, I'm sure she's fine. Point is, I like the dynamic between Doctor Strange and her. Now, this is Sam Raimi in the MCU. No, he did not do well, I guess technically, he did an MCU multiverse movie before it was an MCU multiverse movie. But for the sake of technically being accurate, this is his first MCU movie as the MCU has existed. And he brings that Sam Raimi dynamic, man. Like the first 10, 15 minutes of this movie, there's an action sequence, and I was like, this reminds me of something. Just the way it was like Stephen Strange, Doctor Strange going in to save the day. That civilian to hero dynamic when he gears down, and then the action sequence as it was filmed, as it looked, it was just very reminiscent of the action sequence, one of the action sequences in Spider-Man 2. Gotta say, I was like, I'm in. It worked for me, man. Call it nostalgia, call it whatever, but I liked it. Also, does this movie have horror elements in it? We've seen him interject horror elements into, like, Spider-Man 2. When Doc Ock is in the OR, he becomes Dr. Octopus, and those metal arms are just like horror movie snakes killing everybody. That's like a horror movie scene in a comic book movie, but the rest of the movie doesn't feel too horror movie-esque. This movie has a lot of horror movie tones sprinkled throughout, and it weirdly works. It works because you're going through the multiverse, different realms, different realities. And sometimes it doesn't explain how or why a thing works, it just works. And sometimes that does work for the movie. Sometimes it's like, no, you didn't hide it enough. I get it. You're just kind of hoping that everyone's like, yeah, but it looks cool. Did it look cool? Yeah, but I just kind of wasn't blinded for that moment, so now I'm questioning it. So there's give and take there, but the point is, when it's Sam Raimi horror tone, it was awesome. I liked that more than the concept of going through the multiverse. Anytime it was Sam Raimi horror tone, I was like, this is badass. And kind of in line with that, you know what I liked most about this movie? And I mean it. The carnage. That's right. New MCU movie. What did I like most? The blood. The slaughter. I mean it. You can have horror tone without blood. You can have blood without horror tone. I mean, it's not super bloody. I'm just saying more people died horribly in this movie than I expected to die so horribly in an MCU movie. And you know, you feel like Sam Raimi's been waiting for it. He's probably out there like, when I took on Spider-Man, they said the world wasn't ready for this in a family-friendly PG-13 superhero movie, but the time is now. What can I say? I like me some fun, unexpected carnage candy, and I don't want to overhype it, I don't want to oversell it, but I'm just saying, in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, it tasted pretty good. You know who I loved in this movie? Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff. Yeah, I thought she was excellent in this movie. Granted, she has a lot of emotional setup, and that emotional setup from other MCU things feeds into the emotional moments in here, and I thought she had a great emotional arc. I didn't cry, but it kind of got the knot in the throat going, you know how it is. But I didn't cry. Shut up. Point is, I thought she was great. Also, the musical score. Danny Elfman does the musical score. Standout moments for the musical score as well. You ever watch a movie? I've seen this in the MCU more than a few times, where you watch a movie, like the movie's great, and your friend could be like, yeah? What was your favorite part of the musical score? You'll be like, I don't know. For nothing else. There's a thing that's just creatively interesting that has to do with music. In the end, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was a bonkers, batshit, crazy multiverse good time. It doesn't always stick the landing on things. There's some moments where you're like, yeah, you're just kind of aimlessly going places, aren't you? And it doesn't really pay off, but it looks cool, and you're just hoping the audience, that's enough. It's enough for the audience. It's like, they won't question it, right? And sometimes, yeah, they get away with that. But when I left the movie, I was like, I enjoyed that. Could have also been shorter. There were a couple of cheese dialogue moments, not necessarily just, I can't limit it to the script. It just sounded like there were a couple of moments where someone's trying to sound very villainous. But it came across as cheesy. I could totally see it. Sam Raimi just doing that. Like, yeah, cheese is fun, right? It's not everywhere in the movie, so I'm not saying the whole movie's like that. Those moments that it does happen just stand out like, it's the best you got. But for the most part, I had a really good time with this movie, and it's when Sam Raimi injects that Sam Raimi horror flavor into the MCU, that's when I felt this movie was in top shape. I don't even care. Oh, it doesn't fit with the rest of the MCU. Don't care. I thought that's when it was at its best. And I love the fact that as I'm talking about this is like the first MCU movie I can think of where I'm like, well, I know your kids grew up with the MCU. I mean, or are growing up with the MCU. Not to say your kids are all grown up, and that's where this conversation comes into play. If you have really young kids who like some of the nice, lighter movies of the MCU, there's some imagery in here. It looks great, but also might terrify the fuck out of them and give them nightmares. You know your kids, you do you parent how you parent. I'm just saying, I'm here to inform. And for me, I thought this movie was a great time. No alcohol required. And again, as I tried to keep this video vague, in the next couple days, I'll release a spoiler talk video where I get into the spoilerish elements of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Alright, so Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.